Okay, we are back here in the dining room with Count Kaldar and his now deceased wife or now undead wife. So we're done here for now. I got the ham from the table. Yeah, it's there, and we still can't come back here.
This is just a small...
Actually, I'm not sure if we ever can go back there. I don't know if there's ever anything there. Anyway, okay, so there is some stuff we need to do, obviously. So where haven't we been yet? Where haven't we done something with the castle yet? Up here, we escaped through the window, and obviously on this side, we met Kaldar the first time, and then met him with his lady later, and I forget her name again. But the one place where we haven't really done anything yet is back here. And what was here?
You see
the library.
A young woman sitting on the dusty floor. She has a book in her lap entitled Little Red Riding Hood.
I wish I could read the story. All the pretty words.
So yeah.
Whatever do they say?
So yeah, this is
The pictures look interesting, but what is this book about? I wish I could read the story.
every time I try
All
to
the pretty words.
be quiet. Every time I try to start speaking, she suddenly starts talking. So there is a lady here sitting on the floor of the library reading through these books. So let's take a look.
A young woman
Whatever
sits
do
on
they
the dusty
say?
floor. She is reading, or trying to read, a book entitled Little Red Riding Hood. Aside from the pictures, she does not appear to be comprehending the content at all.
I guess she didn't learn to read.
If you want to introduce yourself, just talk to her.
Yes, I guess using your hands is not a good way to introduce
The
yourself to
pictures
someone.
look interesting.
The book tells the
But what
story
is
of a
this
young
book
girl
about?
who met a wolf in the forest.
The young woman's head snaps up. Her black eyes drill into your own. You gasp as you realize you are looking at yet another vampire. Just how many has the Count made tonight? The young woman's lips transform from hungry to, fortunately, pleasant recognition.
So you are the guest of my grandfather's house. I was hoping I would meet you again.
The woman is startlingly beautiful, but in an eerie, unnatural way. You find yourself unable to speak for a moment. She does look somewhat familiar, but from where?
Oh, my handsome gentleman does not recognize me?
Should I?
You remember the basket, the soup?
With a start, you recognize the young woman. She's grown and matured considerably since you last saw her. The little girl, Possum, has been transformed completely into this. She has traded her small ruby cloak for a dazzling satin robe of the same color.
Are you unhappy with my appearance?
No, it's just that you have me at a disadvantage. I do not know your real name.
Anastasia.
A beautiful name.
Yes, 'twas one of the few things my parents left me before they died. They're probably buried somewhere on this island, as a matter of fact. What do you seek here?
You explain your so far unsuccessful attempt to locate the tiara. The young woman looks thoughtful for a moment, then suddenly snaps her fingers. A discarded pile of books shift aside from the floor, and a single black book is revealed underneath. She appraises the black book with indignant incomprehension, then holds it out towards you. You take the book from Anastasia's hand.
I do not suppose that has anything to do with it, but it must be about something important.
So, okay. I have to confess, I don't really know the whole story here. Why is Possum now a vampire? So, the most obvious explanation is that the Count killed her, or, well, made her undead by transforming her into a vampire. So, did he do that, or did Grandma do that, or did she just somehow magically transform into a vampire after Grandma died? I don't know. It's a little bit. I mean, the game implied obviously that Kaldar turned Possum into this vampire Anastasia, which is. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, on the one hand, Possum living alone by herself without... I mean, once Grandma died, Possum would have been alone. And I don't think she would have been able to fend for herself. So the logical thing to do would be to make her into an undead creature who can never die. But that seems just a bit... it does seem just a bit messed up. Somebody commented, there were actually a couple of comments on my previous video. It's kind of funny that I like the part of the game that's kind of the most messed up and disturbing. Well, I don't like it because it's kind of dark and creepy and disturbing. I just like the love story between the vampires. I think the love story between Kaldar and his wife is quite lovely. I just like the way they interact with each other, you know, the way that they kind of look at each other and share private jokes with each other. That's actually one of my favorite things about romance, you know, about the way that you know, when you get to know someone, and after a while, after you've been together for some years, you start sort of finishing each other's sentences and making private jokes with each other because you know each other well enough, you kind of can guess what each other is thinking, and you know each other, what the other person likes, and that to me is one of the best things about being in a relationship. So I just thought that was very cute, the way the vampires do that, and I really like the vampires' love story. But I'm not into like creepy or dark or gothic stuff generally. So the fact that they transformed Possum into a vampire is a bit ethically questionable, I guess. But again, what else could they have done? I mean, a little girl alone with no one else to care for her wouldn't have survived very long in the wilderness anyway. She would have probably been killed by that dwarf. So I guess this seems like the logical thing to do.
How do you feel about what the Count has done to you?
I am not sure. I suppose I should be grateful.
Grateful?
Yes. If he had left me as I was, I would have faced the same danger that claimed the lives of my parents. The murderers hunt my family still. We will not be completely safe until they are gone. At least I now need not fear anything that prowls by night.
True enough. And if you can avoid daylight altogether for the rest of eternity, you will be fine.
So, okay. So, it's pretty clear, actually. It's the game confirms that the Count did actually turn Possum into a vampire. So, somebody said that this is kind of controversial and messed up. And, I mean, again, what can I say? On the one hand, yeah, it is. But on the other hand, what else could they have done? I mean, what other alternative was there, really? So...
You have nothing else to say to Anastasia right now.
Okay, so she's taken out a lot of books. I don't know why she's taken out all these books if she can't read. Was she just looking at the pictures? I don't think...
Some children's storybooks have been stacked on top of one another. Fiction and fairy tale books are strewn all over the floor.
I don't think there's any significance to which books Anastasia took out and put on the floor.
Some children... You don't have time. You only have a short amount of time to locate the tiara. Concentrate on the task at hand, Graham.
Okay. Well, maybe something about this book will help lead us to the tiara. Let's take a look at this book.
This black book is entitled Sleepy Hollow. It feels lighter than its size would suggest.
Aha, and why might that be?
You open the book and are surprised to discover not pages, but a hollowed-out section in which sits a silver key. The key's handle resembles the shape of a sleeping child. There also appears to be something written on the back cover of the book.
Okay. So we have the key now, which looks like a sleeping child, or at least the handle part on the right does.
It is a shiny silver key.
What does the book say?
In the hollow, you can see that the inside back cover has been written on. Some words have been scrawled onto the paper. They are faded, but still mostly legible.
Okay. This is probably the single most boring puzzle of the game. It seems like a nice idea at first, but in practice it works out very well. Okay, I'll go ahead and read this for those of you who, like Anastasia, cannot read. If treasure you seek, dear to my heart, tales of fiction is where you must start. First find the beauty with stepsisters too, then visit the huts that the big bad wolf blew. The girl with no flock will usher your way to the little old man who spins gold out of hay. Those two star-crossed lovers shall be your last guide. They'll lead you to riches that pirates did hide. What you earnestly seek shall now truly be yours. They'll get it part wrong and you'll be greeted by Maws. And what is...
The writing scrawled on the back cover reads, If treasure you seek, dear to my heart, Tales of Fiction is where you must start. Find first the beauty with stepsisters too, then visit the huts that the big bad wolf blew. The girl with no flock will usher your way to the little old man who spins gold out of hay. Those two star-crossed lovers shall be your last guide. They'll lead you to riches that pirates did hide. What you earnestly seek shall now truly be yours, though get it part wrong, and you'll be greeted by Maws.
Okay, so let me go ahead and save the game here, because this next part is it's kind of challenging and, like I said, also kind of boring. So hold on, let's see. So back here,
This would appear to be the classic fiction section.
if we interact with this part now Graham doesn't complain that he's too busy to read the books. Suddenly we have time to read all these books. Well, we don't actually read them in their entirety, but we can at least look at the titles. So yeah, if you switch to the eye cursor, to the look cursor, now you can see all the titles of all of these. So up here it starts off with Shakespeare, you have The Taming of the Shrew, Henry VI, Richard III, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Romeo and Juliet, Merchant of Venice, etc., etc. So this is obviously all Shakespeare here. Then it moves on to, oh, it's still Shakespeare, Tempest, Henry, yeah, okay, Sonnets, and Rapunzel is not Shakespeare, is it? I don't think so. The Fox and the Cat, Briar Rose. Some of these I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of these stories myself, but Fundevogel, that doesn't, das sagt mir nix. So Little Bo Peep, King Grizzlybeard. Okay, I'm not going to read all the titles, but the problem here is, you need to find several books, and you can probably already figure out how this works. You probably already guessed what you need to do. So if you look at the poem here, Tales of Fiction is where you must start. First find the beauty with stepsisters too. Who is that? That's obviously Cinderella, right? So, I mean, these are all, you can probably guess what all these stories are. So you start with Cinderella, but then the question is, where is Cinderella in this whole thing? You just have to... Okay, by pure luck I just happened to find Cinderella sitting here, but normally you have to just like go through half of these books, and it takes several minutes to find each book, which is quite tedious, but okay, I just happened to get lucky and find Cinderella here. So, Cinderella, what do? We just click the hand on the book, and the game doesn't say anything, but I guess Graham pushes it in. Instead of taking the book and reading it like a civilized person, he just mashes that book against the back of the bookcase, and it turns out that the book is actually a switch that activates a mechanism, but it's only one part of the mechanism. We still need to get the other books. And if you get it wrong, if you click on a wrong book, like let's just pick on some random book here. That's not very polite.
You become acquainted with the greatest book critic of all time.
Yes, so that is Maws. Can we, actually I wonder, can we talk to Anastasia about...
The book contains instructions, but instructions pertaining to what, I wonder?
Read it to me.
You do so.
Why, it's the bookcase, silly. It tells you how you'd find a book from there. You have to simply follow the directions. I am sure you will figure it out.
What is Maws?
It will not bother me, seeing as how I am not at all appetizing to him. You, on the other hand, would be precisely his cup of tea.
Anastasia's face lights up suddenly.
If you want, I can make you like me. That way, you'd be safe.
It would have sounded to you like a generous, innocent suggestion from a sweet girl if it did not involve large losses of essential bodily fluids on your part. You politely decline the offer.
Hey, when did Leader Larry ever decline to share bodily fluids, to share essential bodily fluids with a young lady? Okay, so, I don't know why... I have to confess, I don't know why choosing a wrong book makes Maws appear. If Maws wants to eat us, I don't think that his eating us would be contingent on what books Graham touches. But
You have nothing else.
okay. Okay, so let's try this again. So basically, yeah, so you start off with Cinderella, that was this book here. And let's go back to the poem. Let's see what comes next. So that's Cinderella. Then visit the huts that the big bad wolf blew. Okay, that's the three little pigs. Little pig, let me in. So I did write down where these books are located. I honestly found Cinderella just by chance. I wasn't actually looking at my list, but I do have my list of books in front of me here. So the Three Little Pigs is on the bottom shelf around the middle. So let's see, what do we have here? A Wise Old Owl. Is that about Cedric? Bat, come under my hat. I don't know what that is. Like I said, some of these I don't recognize. Fiddle-dee-dee. Fish Story. Fish Story. I wonder what that's about. The Ugly Duckling. What are little boys made of? That's kind of... Oh, is that like... Is that thing about how little girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice, and then boys are made of frogs and snails and puppy dogs' tails? But that's just a poem. That's a poem with like 8 lines in it. How do you make a whole book out of that? I don't know. Peace Porridge Hot. LC. Yeah, I mean, these are just like... Okay, here's the Three Little Pigs. But some of these are just like nursery rhymes that you just tell in 3 verses, and then that's it. That's the whole thing. That's not a whole book. Okay, anyway, so the Three Little Pigs is here. Click the hand on it. Done. Okay, moving on. What comes after the Three Little Pigs? The Girl with No Flock will usher your way. So that's... what's her name? Little Bo Peep. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep and doesn't know where to find them.
Right.
So, where's Little Bo Peep? According to my notes, she's in the second row here on the right. So... yeah, right here. Little Bo Peep. Okay, moving on. What's next? Again, this is quite tedious if you have to go through all the books yourself. It's not so bad here because I wrote down the notes ahead of time, so I wrote down where the books are located. But when I first did this and had to go through all those books several times to find each of these references to some well-known fairy tale or nursery rhyme, it was like, wow, really? I just have to just carefully scroll the eye through all those books and find the book title that I'm looking for. Okay, Girl with No Flock was Little Bo Peep. What's next? The Little Old Man Who Spins Gold Out of Hay. That's pretty obviously Rumpelstiltskin, or Rumpelstilzchen, or however he was called in the German that I guess English took him from. So we need Rumpelstiltskin. According to my notes, Rumpelstiltskin is in the third row on the right. So this Little Jack Horner. So is that the guy who sat in a corner eating his what was he eating? Eating something, and then he pulled out his thumb and stuck it in himself, and then said he was a good boy or something. I don't know. Baba Black Sheep, and okay, here's Rumpelstiltskin all the way on the right. So, okay, Rumpelstiltskin. What's next after? Spins Gold Out of Hay. Those 2 star-crossed lovers shall be your last guide. Well, there are obviously lots of love stories, but probably the most famous love story is, yeah, no prize for guessing. I guess we're looking for Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet is from Shakespeare, so it should be here in the top row. Oh, again, just by pure chance. I didn't know it was there. I just like randomly happened to mouse over the first book that is Romeo and Juliet, or the first book that I moused over is Romeo and Juliet. So here we go, Romeo and Juliet.
A new book has appeared on the 3rd shelf down.
And where is it? I must have missed it. Is it? Oh, here we go. Treasure Island. Right, so lead to riches that pirates did hide. So the last book is Treasure Island.
You've located the correct book. You pluck it from the shelf and read its title, Treasure Island. What is this? There seems to be a lock binding the cover shut. The keyhole requires a small, thin key.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and just quickly save. so that we don't have to do that again. Treasure... I'll say Isle. Got Treasure Isle. Close enough. Good enough. Alright, so, again, it's probably not rocket science to imagine that this key might pass with the, or might fit with the hole in the lock of this book.
You are unable to open the book, as it is locked.
Actually, I don't think it would be too difficult to break that lock anyway, but alright, let's do it properly.
The key fits perfectly into the lock. You turn it and hear a soft click. The book is now open.
Okay. Can we read the book?
Skimming through the book, you find that a map has been sketched onto the last page. Close scrutiny reveals it is a top-down layout of the castle and its surrounding grounds. According to this, the tiara has been buried near one of the graves. You shudder, hoping that this is not going to be a case of digging all night while trying to avoid unearthed zombies. There is also a small piece of writing near the bottom. A date of fate can be found with a first, a second, and a double of nothing.
A first, a second, and a double of nothing. The double of nothing is probably going to be 2 zeros. That seems to make sense. And then a first and a second, is that like the numbers 1 and 2? So 1200, 1200. Can we talk to Anastasia about this now?
You have nothing.
Okay. So, I'm going to guess... Oh, and obviously, I think everybody got it, but very obviously that line about digging in a graveyard while dodging zombies is obviously a reference to King's Quest IV, where you're doing exactly that. Actually, no, if you do it properly, you're not dodging the zombies. You can just ignore them, because if you do it properly, you have the I believe it's the scarab that protects you from the zombies. So, but anyway, so yeah, so we'll need to do a little bit of digging now. We need to find that tiara in the graveyard, so we'll go ahead and do a little bit of digging, but I think this has been enough for one video. Sorry that the video, I'll save one last time. It is time to dig. Alright, sorry that the video was a bit boring because it was just me looking at the books, mostly at the titles of the books, but hopefully in the next video some stuff will happen. So I will see you then, folks. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well, and yeah, we will catch up with you folks later. Ta-ta for now.